Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay. He's Maddie. This is Yankee and the Brit, and we are with your Sunday pregame show for the first NFL Sunday of the season. Are you excited, Maddie?
Of course, I'm excited, man. I mean, it's coming at the same time as Wales' first game in the Rugby World Cup, and I'm watching the American football. That's how excited I am about it.
There you go. So, I guess we should talk about the game that just happened on Thursday, where I fucking told you. I told you something stupid was going to happen just so I could be pissed off that hear the Lions fans fucking talk shit for a fucking couple weeks like they won the Super Bowl when if it wasn't for Kadarius Toney, they only scored 10 points in that whole game.
The Lions are clearly going to the Super Bowl with a performance like that where they scored, they scored 2 touchdowns, 1 defensive touchdown, and they won the game.
If it's not for that tip ball by Kadarius Toney that hit him right in the hands, they score fucking 10 points that whole game. That's it.
Yeah, it was well done to the Lions for going into Arrowhead and winning.
You know what? They don't get a well done from me. They got lucky.
they won a game in Arrowhead. They held Patrick Mahomes to 20 points because of Kadarius Toney's drops. I know, but you still got to hold him to those points. Aiden Hutchinson had a fantastic game.
8 drops by the wide receivers that would have been first downs or touchdowns. That's what Patrick Mahomes had. 8 drops from wide receivers that would have been first downs or touchdowns.
Yeah, look, not Patrick Mahomes' fault. At points, the guy looked like an absolute alien. Where it was said quite a lot after the game, actually, where pundits would get plays on the screen and go like, "The Lions have won this play. The Lions have won this play," and then all of a sudden, Patrick Mahomes escapes and goes for a 15-yard run. He was their lead rusher in the game as well, which probably not good to be having. The Chiefs didn't seem to have a run game at all. Aiden Hutchinson had a great game coming off the edge. Who was the offensive lineman who was in charge of Aiden Hutchinson?
Taylor.
Yeah, full starting on pretty much every single snap.
Yeah, and Aiden Hutchinson got away with 3 late hits, which I think is more egregious than a false start. So,
yes, but Aiden Hutchinson made it to the quarterback for those hits, and the refs didn't call him up. And it's the same with the false starts that the ref didn't call him up. But you got to feel that Aiden Hutchinson's late hits, I don't know how much of a difference taking 2 more late hits would have been out of his play compared to if they called Walker every time he did a false start and he moved inside onto the right guard and was absolutely blowing him up. I think Aiden Hutchinson had a great game.
I think that game was the biggest joke that we're going to see probably this year.
I think it was quite funny seeing Nick Wright's 20-0 immediately go out the window. I just think looking at what was going on with the game and everything like that, you had Travis Kelce missing. They clearly missed the pressure from Chris Jones. Although the Chiefs defense did pretty well. Like the Chiefs defense did well in terms of locking it down. They got run on a little bit at points, but they were great against the pass game. Although Amon-Ra St. Brown had a good day in fantasy points, 19.5 points to start off.
I do think that game proved too, as much as people don't want to admit it, that the Lions running game is in trouble this year compared to last year.
Yeah. I mean, Gibbs.
Montgomery. They just weren't
Montgomery looks okay.
But they weren't the same as Williams and Swift. I don't care what anybody says. It was a completely different look. And I think they're going to regret getting rid of Williams a lot.
Yes. I mean, I think they wanted to have Williams around, but it looked at one point where they would be out without Montgomery and without Williams if they didn't make a move on one of them now. And Williams was not coming back to the table, so they took Montgomery. I thought Montgomery looked okay.
Well, that's what happens when you offer a guy $1.5 million a year. Yeah, of course, he's not coming back to the table. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Montgomery looked okay, had a decent game. I mean, scored the winning touchdown, like played well. Uh, Gibbs looked fast and explosive, but like not like he could get past the defensive line first. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like
and that's the thing. Like the
yeah,
the whole center of that fucking defense is not the same because Chris Jones isn't there, and you still can't bust
yeah.
open big runs. That was
Mhm.
kind of suspect to me. A lot of times Jared Goff looked like the fucking old Jared Goff, which might just be week one because I'm not dumping on Jared Goff, but
Mhm.
he got so much credit last year for being so accurate. And even some of the passes that were completed, receivers were twisting to have to go back and catch those things.
Yeah, I think that defense played pretty well. Like Kadarius Jones drops obviously very hampering, but
Rice
they
had a
still played
fucking
well.
Rice had a bad drop. There was some other ones too. It was just bad.
Yeah, I mean for me, looks almost like a really good fantasy pick though. It looks like he'll be picking up a lot of Rice looks like a decent fantasy pick. He looks like he's going to be a pretty big part of that offense. They were going to him at points, and I mean, he got a touchdown as well. So if anybody's got Rice left in there, if they're playing in a bloody 14-person league like we are, Rice is not a bad pickup on the free agency market. He's in our free agency market.
I think it's a bad pickup only because I think once Kelsey comes back, MVS and Tony get all of those fucking passes that would have went to Rice. I think he drops back again,
Yeah,
and we're not going to see him like that. And
I think he's a good bench pickup. He's a good
and
hold pickup.
I wonder if Mahomes trusts him now because yes, Kadarius Tony had an awful game, and I said they should have cut him after the fucking game, which is me being sarcastic. But they don't win a Super Bowl without him last year. So I know Mahomes trusts him. Rice dropped balls, and it's really his first time getting real action, even though he was on the team last year. Makes me wonder if he trusts him because you know as well as I do, if the quarterback don't trust you, you ain't getting the ball.
Yeah, but I mean, he also got a touchdown. I think he's a good fantasy pickup to have there to see how it goes over the next couple of weeks and have Rice sitting on the bench waiting.
And Maddie wants to try to help everybody else in our league by always talking about who they should go grab.
I just want to beat the best people, you know. That's you know what I mean. I want to
Don't make
always
them be
help everybody.
strategic, Maddie. Don't make them think for themselves. Just give them the answer to the test and let them go and tell them they got an A.
Yeah, that's me.
That's not good
That's what I like
teaching.
to do.
You're an educator. We expect more. We expect more. You're an educator.
I give them the system. I lead them to the water.
Do you
They
give
just need to.
you give all your students the answers to the test before the test?
Well, actually, in the theory of metacognition, you should be giving them the answers to the test, but earlier on, obviously, and then it's their job to put them into practice
So
during
you
the
come in on
test.
Monday and go, all right, guys, pop quiz. Here's the answers.
We don't do pop quizzes in the US.
Okay,
We
but you
give
get
our
my
people
point.
time to prepare. No, of course I
Monday,
do. Of course I
you
get your
come in
point.
for a test and you're like, here's the answer. Sit down and take the test because that's what you just did.
Of course I give them. Of course I give them. Of course I don't give them the answers
And you're
straight
an
away.
asshole because I already have him claimed, you fucking cocksucker.
Do you?
Yes, you always do that shit.
It's just because we fucking think the same.
No, it's because you know my team is so good that if I get any better, nobody has a fucking chance.
I nearly claimed him yesterday as well. People should get rewarded for watching the show, and there's a reward for people watching the show.
I thought we were better than that, but all right, fuck me over as soon as you get a chance.
All right, shall we move? Sorry, mate, you go.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, shall we move into this next slate of games? What game would you like to talk about first coming up this weekend?
That's exactly what I was going to say too. So, like, look at that. I don't know. I'll just go down. I guess I got my DraftKings up right now, and I'll just go down from where I got it. It starts with the Bucks Vikings with the Vikings -4.5.
Yeah. Is that right? Okay, just I forget this every single time I start in the year. Does Google have it as at, or do they put the home team at home as if they're European? So are the Vikings at home or are they away?
The Vikings are home.
Yeah, I thought so. Honestly, sorry. Just because of that minus, just because of that, I thought they must have been away for some reason. I was looking at it and thought they must not be playing at home with that. How are they not at least a touchdown favorite against the Bucks? The Bucks have nothing.
Because everybody thinks all the talking heads have the Vikings winning like fucking 4 games this year.
That's absolutely crazy. Put money on this. This is a game to put money on. Bet for the Vikings on that one. 100%. Bet for the Vikings for more than 4 to beat the Bucks by more than 4. We've said it all the way through the preseason. The narrative has gone one way on the Vikings where they had so many one-score games last year. How are they going to continue to do that? And we've kind of gone, well, they might have those one-score games might turn into 2-score games.
And they can have a worse
year.
record and still be a better team.
Yeah, the defense is better on paper and better coached by the look of it as well. The offense has had one more year in Kevin O'Connell's system. Kirk Cousins is coming into a season. For once, he seems to be a popular quarterback. Like nobody's ever hated Kirk Cousins, but people
Vikings,
have this narrative.
50% of Vikings fans hate him.
Yeah, after his time as in the documentary, I feel like he's become the much more loved quarterback. So
I agree. I get where you're coming from, but
they're in
a
a good
lot of
space.
people hate him more now after watching it.
Crazy.
Even the Canadian on our live show was talking about how he hated him because he watched quarterback.
Oh, because he's corny. Quarterback should be allowed to be corny. If there's one position you're allowed,
anybody should be allowed to be corny if it's truly you. All I'm about is be you, no matter what. Don't make me feel like you're fake, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, is Kirk Cousins seem like the dude I want to hang out with and go to the bar or whatever? No. But does he seem like the dude I want leading a fucking organization or a business? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're gonna have a really good game today. Just on the Bucks as well. I know they have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. If that offensive line's healthy, it's one of the best in the league. Let's see what Baker Mayfield does. I'm a fan of Baker Mayfield. I think he was hard done by getting kicked out of Cleveland. And I thought he looked all right in LA. I'm surprised that he's not playing for the Rams, if I'm being perfectly honest, already this year. But their defense was slated to be top 5 last year, and it just wasn't. And then they only just made it out of a terrible division and got absolutely smoked by the Cowboys with Tom Brady. I'm going to take the Vikings winning by more than 4 in that one.
I'm taking the Vikings also, but I'm taking the under on the 45.5 points because I don't think it'll be a shootout because I think the Vikings defense will be better this year. I love the idea of them running the three safety set. I really love that. Me and my cousin used to talk about that all the time. Why don't you put an extra safety instead of a linebacker? Because they can actually cover and safety tackle. So, that's something I really like to see. Also, if you really think about that 4.5 points on a neutral field, the Vegas is saying that the Vikings are only 1.5 points better than the Bucks.
That's why I was so confused because I've done all of my slate from Google, all of my predictions, and I was just like, hang on, what? Like only 4 points. There must be a way because then that would be a touchdown thing. But
maybe it's something to do with week 1 too, because this next game had me going, what the fuck, right? Even though they're away, this next game is San Francisco at Pittsburgh, and San Francisco's 2.5-point favorites, only 2 points against a Pittsburgh team that is trotting out Pickens as quarterback still. And then I get it. I love Mike Tomlin. Don't get me wrong, because he was the Vikings coach. I actually met this dude. I've met a few famous people in my life. Hi, how you doing? Keep it moving, right? Said that to Mike Tomlin. That dude stopped and talked to us in the Mall of America for like 15 minutes. Really. So I got this weird, hey, I really like Mike Tomlin thing. And he's a great coach. But they went what 9-8 last year,
Yeah.
and I'm still not sold on Kenny Pickens. I'm still not, because to me he's just a better Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, I mean, yes. I'm just trying to think why that scoreline would be what it is. That there's not really a reason to say it. Is the reason we don't know what Brock Purdy's elbow is going to look like. Still not a lot of confidence with the whole Mr. Irrelevant thing. And the Steelers are getting a lot of love this year. If you hear the words coming out of the Steelers camp, like media outlets in the Steelers camp bringing it out there, it's like they're going to fucking win the Super Bowl. Or they're going to, I think they're a bit more realistic than that. I think they're expecting to challenge for the AFC North, but I don't see where the improvements have gone that crazy. Obviously, defensively, they're very strong. The run game was semi-disappointing last year, but Najee Hines will probably make a bit of a step up this year, but 2.5 points seems odd, even with Sam Darnold at quarterback for the 49ers.
Hey, I know it's Pittsburgh and Heinz ketchup is their thing, but it's Najee Harris. I'm just fucking with in Heinz Field.
Yeah.
You mixed the two. I was just like
Najee Harris.
And I don't even think it's Heinz Field anymore. I think they backed out. Like they're no longer the sponsor. But
God's sake, I've been trying to find bloody Heinz beans in Latvia for so long as well, because they cost so much more here than they do in the UK, and that must have been my thought process.
There you go. My thing with that too, though, is honestly, and this is just my opinion. Tell me what you think.
Yeah,
you know that I don't think Sam Darnold's great. I don't think he's the worst quarterback in the NFL, but I don't think he's great by any means. Do we not think the 49ers have a great chance of going to the Super Bowl last year? No shitting on the Eagles. If even Sam Darnold was on that team instead of a fucking armless Brock Purdy.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Sam Darnold is more than capable of running a functional
so that's my point.
offense.
So even if as long as Brock Purdy can throw the ball.
Yeah, for it to not even be a 3-point win, like they don't even win by more than a field goal, it seems strange to me. It seems strange to me.
I mean, if you
now, do I want the Steelers to win?
This is saying, like, on a neutral field, they're only the 49ers only a
win by 5.5.
5 point, yeah.
Now, do I want the Steelers to win? Of course, because that's good for the Dallas Cowboys' chances of a top seed in the NFC. But I don't see it personally.
Yeah, I don't know. I got the 49ers. Give me the 49ers minus the 2. I would have took them minus 5. So, you know.
Yeah, give me the 49ers for that one.
So this one's a weird one. 41.5 points over or under.
For the 49ers Steelers, how many? 41.5?
Yeah.
Over.
I'm going with the over 2, but it wouldn't shock me if that game was low scoring.
35-10. 35-10. That would be the kind of score I'd be looking at.
All right. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I think a lot of this is just Vegas hedging their bets on week 1.
It's week 1, yeah.
It's hard. Like, I haven't been as into it this week as I normally am in the middle of the season. I don't know where the money's going, and money changes betting lines. Like, so
yeah,
if people are piling money on the 49ers, then they're going to shrink that betting line so that Vegas doesn't lose its ass in the case of, or I mean, if the Steelers, they're shrinking the money line. You all who gamble know what I'm saying.
I got you.
But I wonder if that has a lot to do with like these point spreads in this first week, because it's about week 4 before we really know what teams are.
Yeah, I think that is the case of the NFL. I think people come on and do shows and stuff, and they go, just take it off the screen. Like, don't put that up. What was just commented on YouTube? But just quickly flash it, and then get rid of it really instantly.
I had to see what it said. I wasn't on that. There you go, Hitman. Let him know. Let the Cowboys fan know.
It's down. It's off. Get rid of it.
Oh, you put it down. That wasn't me.
It's gone.
Maddie said, "Get out of
gone. Get it out of here.
I'm not used to that, man. You got me. I was like, hey, how did this disappear?
I can do it on my side too. Yeah, but I think we don't really know what a lot of teams are in week one. People come on and they do these shows and they talk like last season, but these teams aren't the same as they were last season. However, looking at both teams off-season work, I think the Steelers are going to be better than last year. I'm not sure they'll have a much better record than 9-8. But I'll take the 49ers going more than 2.5 there.
Oh, Maddie. So for anybody who watched our fantasy draft, the Canadian who talks a lot of shit is now telling Hitman he could beat him at any sport he wants, pick a recreational sport. Street Beef's West Coast is not doing I think it's December, but don't quote me on this, a December event. They're going to do tackle football instead with all the Street Beef guys just getting together, having a cookout or doing food. And if the Canadian actually shows up, I think Hitman's going to try to decapitate him.
That should be fun. I would watch that.
And I know Hitman does not hate him. Let me say this, but I think there is some truth to what he just said here. He doesn't hate him, but the Canadian has been talking shit for a couple years now. And everybody who watches Street Beast knows he was supposed to fight him once, and that didn't happen. So
that's got to be a show.
With Hitman, it didn't happen because the Canadian didn't make the fight. And now there's been a lot of shit talking. I think if they were playing fucking ping pong, Hitman would figure out a way to tackle him or hit him.
I think what we should do is make a plea for that game to be live streamed from Street Beefs.
They use a lot of live stream stuff on the events.
I would love to commentate
Heart in the Fight, because if they live stream it, it'll be on Heart in the Fight.
I feel like we should be brought on as commentators for the third quarter. Just putting that out there.
Oh yeah, we should. Daniel, if you see this, and you do a live stream, me and Maddie want to call the game.
I would love to call the game. Just putting that out there. Okay, cool. Go find out and say we're commentating on the game, and then we'll move on. Thanks, man. Back to football. We're just we've done a couple of shows.
We hit on Hitman, and we need medical on the field.
That's a Hitman being called for unnecessary roughness.
Hey, did you ever see the movie Unnecessary Roughness?
No.
It's an old comedy football movie, and there's a guy who knows like martial arts, and he like just drop kicks everybody and spin kicks, and that'll be Hitman just taking people out.
15-yard penalty on Hitman for unnecessary roughness.
Damn, he's gonna have a JJ type game: 6 catches, 147, 2 tuds, and a Canadian flat. All right. Well, I'm taking the 49ers -2, and I'm going to take the over, but I could see that being an under game. I really could see it be low scoring between those two teams.
I'd definitely take the over on that one, I think.
Well, they both predicate themselves on defense. That's why I said maybe you could see an under game. That's one of those games.
Yeah, definitely.
Here's another game though with a decently big. That didn't even make sense. Here's a game with higher point spread, since I can't fucking talk today. Houston Texans at the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore favored by 9.5. I'm going to put this out there right away. I think Baltimore wins. I'm going to go out on a limb and take the Texans plus the 9.5, because there's something about new coaches that grab their team. You know, and D'Amico Ryan seems like that guy who's really got that team, that even if they don't win, they play hard. I'm a big fan of their running game. I know that their passing game is going to be suspect until proven otherwise, but that was the same with the Texans last year. And the Texans beat a lot of point spreads last year, even while losing.
Yeah, I 9.5 again seems like that's a bit far. If it was double digits, I would be definitely taking the Texans. If it was double digits, I feel like the Texans have been on this. We spoke about it 2 years ago about the Texans being on this crazy long rebuild journey, which is happening in really, really little steps. Like a 5-year rebuild from what's happened with Deshaun Watson and everything. And they're taking really little steps. And I think the Texans are going to be keeping a decent amount of games close this year. I don't think they're going to give CJ Stroud the ability to go for shootout games and all of that kind of stuff. And they'll be keeping it close with Damian Pierce. And I've got the Baltimore Ravens are going to win that game. But how far off can Lamar Jackson go? Just for the sake of argument with EJ, because we've been pretty close so far, I'm going to take the Ravens at 9.5.
I don't have a problem with that. I can see a lot of people taking that, but for me, I'm riding that we have a brand new coach, and we're gonna play up or above almost what we should, just off of that energy. And I like CJ Stroud. Me and you have said this since I want to see what he is in the NFL. I'm usually very opinionated and loudmouth. Anybody who watches knows that, but I'm not sure what to think, because the CJ Stroud I seen through 99% of college is a different guy than I seen in the national championship game.
Yeah, and especially on you're especially opinionated on Ohio State quarterback, so it is strange to be keeping it that quiet. I like CJ Stroud. I would like to see him with some weapons in the NFL as well.
Hey, to be fair, I shit on Bama quarterbacks too.
Yeah, Bama quarterbacks too. Yeah, sorry, I meant
No, I'm just being. I want to put it out there. I shit on both Ohio State and Bama quarterbacks because of history of quarterbacks. But this is a year where a Bama quarterback and Ohio State quarterback are both in the league now, and I'm like, I don't know. They might change the narrative on these schools and their quarterbacks. I just have to wait and see, because what I saw at the national championship game out of fucking CJ Stroud, I was like, bro, this dude can play.
Yeah, I like CJ Stroud. I think he's a quarterback who probably needs weapons. He's an offense operator, and Nico Williams is their first depth chart wide receiver, and he's all right. He should do all right, and he'll get a decent amount of volume. So again, a decent fantasy pickup for anybody who's anybody who's looking for that kind of stuff. I mean, he's on my bench, so Ali can't have him. But yeah, Baltimore Ravens by 9.5 on that one.
All right. Well, the next game. Oh, what I want to check this quick. Oh, the over/under on that game is 43.5. 43.5 is the over/under on that game. I'm going under.
Yeah, I'll take the under on that one as well.
I have to go the under though if I'm taking the Texans to cover. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I'll take the under on that one as well. I don't see the Texans being very successful in terms of scoring offensively. I see them sustaining some levels of kind of long drives, but just not turning it into touchdowns at the end.
All right. Well, let's check out a game that I wonder where you're going to sit. I think I know, but I want to check for sure. Bengals at the Browns. The Bengals are only a 1.5 point favorite at the Browns today, with 46.5 points over under. I'll just throw it out there. I got the Browns in the upset because I don't think Joe Burrow's fucking healed.
Is he 100% playing today?
Yeah, but I don't think he's healed.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was toying with picking the Browns as well. 1.5 points.
Hitman's with me on the upset.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people. Do you know what? It's becoming less of an upset. If you watch talking heads all over the league, it's just like, oh, the Browns are going to upset. The Browns are going to upset. So it's 1.5 points. 1.5 points is not an upset. Not an upset alert. But
yeah. I had to put that
on there. I don't think Deshaun Watson is any good this year, and I think an injured Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase on the outside has enough to beat the Browns. So I'm going to take the Bengals in that win, which seems to be the actual upset with talking heads on TV.
I think Deshaun Watson's going to be way better this year than he was last year after being off for 2 years.
Maybe I'm just trying to speak it into existence because I just don't want him to be good. Maybe that's what's happening. Let's see. Okay.
Yeah.
You bring that into your organization though. Like that's sometimes a cultural thing. Like injuries we speak about with the 49ers.
Nick Chubb is a monster.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper showed that he can play in that. He's shown that he can play in that offense. So it all comes down to quarterback play. And do you think Deshaun Watson's better than Baker Mayfield? Because when they're both on, I think Deshaun Watson's a way better quarterback. But that was he was in with the Texans. Yeah. Also, there's this argument that doesn't get brought up enough. Deshaun Watson had D-Hop to bail him out every time he was in trouble in Houston.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's that too. And I mean, if you look at it as well, taking 2 years off is the reason why nobody wanted to draft Colin Kaepernick, because he was too far away from the game for too long. He was out of the league for too long, so he doesn't know how to play. That was their excuse for Colin Kaepernick. But the guy who had to go and settle cases in court for and actually did something wrong, he's fine coming back for 2 years after 2 years out. Just saying.
Okay.
Just putting that out there.
I hate to
don't want to be too political.
I'm putting us both in a bad situation with this, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's amazing to me how a guy who got charged with or accused and charged with or accused and sued for is a better way to put it. 24 sex crimes or however you want to put it is a less of a problem to the NFL than a guy who kneeled during the national anthem.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Anyway, that's a totally separate podcast, and we should probably move on.
Who that? That's the Raiders. That's who that.
Who that? All right. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you on that one, man. And that's a totally different show.
And I'm not saying that you don't have the right to feel whatever way you want to feel about Kaepernick. That's not what this argument's about. Feel however you want, because I understand the emotion on both sides of it. But all I'm saying is, one guy had 24 women saying something, one guy kneeled, and next thing you know, the guy who kneeled never played again, and the guy with 24 got a $250 million fully guaranteed contract. Very odd.
And I mean, let's see how 2 years off affects him. Like last year, probably not a fair relationship on his like football playing ability, but that kind of stuff sticks with you, man. And let's see how 2 years out has affected him. He doesn't have D-Hop anymore, and he's in the Browns organization. Like, I know you said they don't have injuries and bullshit, but like the Browns bring bullshit into the building. There is bullshit surrounding the Browns all the time. So we can't say they're going to have a season without bullshit, because they get to have a season without bullshit for quite a long time. And there's injuries to be concerned with.
Do you think that's part of the reason they didn't bring Kareem Hunt back? Because it's weird to me that he's still a free agent, and that because he's really good on, and especially as a second back. But
I'm surprised he's not a Cowboy.
Domestic shit, and plus they still have Watson, and they were like, we can't have too many fucking knuckleheads on the team. Like, I wonder if that has something to do with it.
I reckon so.
Because they still have money, because they've been trying to trade for Danielle Hunter all offseason from the Vikings. So they obviously have the money to pay for Danielle Hunter. They'd have the money to bring Kareem Hunt back if they wanted. And we've watched teams up against the salary cap figure out how to make money whenever they need it.
Yeah, and when you've got Nick Chubb as well, I guess you not bringing back Kareem Hunt's not going to affect you too much on the football field. So
except every time Nick Chubb got hurt, Kareem Hunt comes in and has a big ass game, right? Like it's the same thing with Alexander Madison. Every time Delvin Cook was hurt, Madison came in and gave you 100 yards, you know? So like these guys could play. And for the fact that Kareem Hunt's still not on a team is crazy to me.
I'm surprised Kareem Hunt isn't a Cowboy with the Cowboys running back situation. Like, because obviously you've got Tony Pollard, but we don't know how many snaps Tony Pollard can kind of take. So
if it's not the money, you would think that the Vikings would have wanted him to help offset the receiving ability of Delvin Cook out of the backfield, right? Like, so there's teams out there, you're like, either he's asking for an astronomical amount of money, or there's some shit we don't know about that other teams are like, no, thank you.
Yeah, that's where I think it might be at.
No, that's
Anyway.
fair. That's why I asked. Like it's a fair way to bring it up, but it's just weird to me that a guy that talented is still not on a team because the NFL doesn't seem to care about your off-field stuff as long as you can play. Like Ray Rice is not in the league, and everybody's like, Ray Rice isn't in the league because he hit his wife and it was brutal. That's part of it, but Ray Rice is also not in the league because he fell off the year before he hit his wife, and so he didn't have enough talent to overcome the off-field stuff because they obviously think Deshaun Watson has enough talent to overcome the off-field stuff, or Tyreek Hill has enough talent to overcome all the off-field incidents. So it's strange to me.
Yeah, Big Ben's probably going to go into the Hall of Fame. So let's
yeah, you know I mean, I love Pac-Man Jones, but look at all the times he got in trouble and teams kept signing him because he was a shutdown corner. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, like when he was with the Cowboys hired a team to go out with him every time he went out so he didn't get in trouble, you know?
Yeah, the Cowboys do love themselves a scumbag, you know. It's the Salvation Army.
I wouldn't call Pac-Man a scumbag. His is always some fan starting with him, and Pac-Man doesn't know how to walk away.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, fair play. Fair point.
I think it's a little different. I don't want to put him in the same category.
Oh, yeah. Who we've just been talking about.
Guys. Yeah. He doesn't have the domestic violences and that kind of stuff. He's got strip club incidents, airport incidents, like that kind of stuff. I think it's a little different, but still it's a headache. And they're willing to put up with guys if they're a headache as long as their play is still up there. What's the old saying is they'll put up with a bunch of shit as long as your talent is more than the shit. More than the talent, you're gone.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think there's like a symptom of that in the NFL, 100%. And the Browns bring that into the building. So saying if the Browns don't have bullshit, if the Browns don't have injuries, like all of that kind of stuff, well, they always have bullshit and they always have injuries. So we can't say that that's not going to happen. If the Cowboys don't bottle it in the playoffs, then they would have Super Bowls. Well, obviously, fucking obviously. So like,
well, that's like saying, and that's like saying if the Vikings had the number one defense last year, they'd win the Super Bowl. Sure,
sure, so,
but we weren't even close. We were 31st. So you know,
the things that don't happen. Like the Browns always have bullshit, and they always like. So we can't say that they're going to have a season where they don't do that. Anyway, right. I do think the Bengals are going to fall off this year, but I think they'll put it past the Browns.
All right. Oddly, a game that I'm looking forward to that most of America probably is not looking forward to. Jags versus the Colts with the Jags at the Colts. Jags are a 4-point favorite. I got the Jags. 46 points over under. That one's rough for me. I guess I'll go with the over, but I think we're going to see a lot of Justin Field type plays from Indianapolis where Anthony Richardson is going to make a lot of plays with his legs, but it's not going to be enough to generate enough points to win a game. And I think the Jags are super underrated this year for some reason.
Yeah, I think if it's a 46 point, if it's an over 46 point game, then the Jags absolutely blow them out, right? That's more what I'm thinking there. So I'm going to take the under on that. I'm going to take the Jags to win it. I don't think the Colts, Anthony Richardson will have a lot of those kind of plays. The Colts offense has a high floor because of the physical abilities of Anthony Richardson. However, the floor isn't high enough to go past, as you say, a very, very underrated Jags team this year.
I almost started Anthony Richardson over Deshaun Watson just because of all the points he's going to generate with his legs. But
I think I would.
But if that's the Jags D up and just decide like Anthony Richardson's legs aren't beating us, it could be a whole different game too.
Yeah. If the Jags just go, let's see if this guy can throw. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing it's kind of like with the Vikings and Baker Mayfield. Like you don't want Baker to get outside of the pocket. Just keep him in the pocket and you're better off.
Yeah. Yeah. And it also betters, and I'll bring this point up again when we talk Patriots because I heard it from, is it Max Kellerman on the one with Nick Wright and stuff on First Take? No,
Max Kellerman used to do First Take with Stephen A. But I don't watch any of the FS1 shows, so I don't know who's with Nick Wright anymore.
Right. Chris Broussard. and then the other guy. Anyway, he said that he basically said this about the Patriots, but you want to get your division rivals' weaknesses on film, like for the rest of the NFL to see. So that's what he was saying. He was saying if Belichick has found out a way to stop the Eagles one-on-one play, like 4th-and-1 play, their rugby play, and he's just been over the offseason just working out how to stop that, then he's going to want to put that on show first week up, and then it's not division rivals, but it's then the rest of the league sees that like early on. The Jags are going to want to show Anthony Richardson's weaknesses immediately in week 1, and let's see if he can throw the ball. Just make him run, get his weaknesses of throwing the ball on tape for the rest of the league to see.
This is a little off of what we're talking about, but I have to ask you. So is Monday Night Football aired on Sky TV?
Yeah.
Anybody who has Spectrum in the U.S., you can tell them to fuck themselves because they're battling with ESPN, so they no more Disney whatsoever on Spectrum. So there's no more ESPN for us who have Spectrum cable. Go on and watch that shit on Sky Sports. You'll be able to catch the Monday night game on Sky Sports on the internet.
Yeah, use a VPN to watch on Sky Sports. All the primetime games are on Sky.
For Sky Sports, they'll let you download this TTV that just plays it. So if you have a Fire Stick, go down, download TTV, and you'll be able to watch Sky Sports and catch the game. Same announcers. The only thing that's different is halftime's a little different because you get the British people doing the halftime.
Not on the Monday night games because they're at like 1 a.m. in the UK.
Oh, okay, there you go. So
they've gone home. But we did so instead of a halftime show, you watch the end reel from Red Zone for the rest of the game earlier. So you just see like all of the touchdowns of that week.
Oh, okay.
You watch in the halftime game. But you also get all the British ads, which is quite fun. That's nice for you to see. The ad space.
No, the British gambling ads crack me up more than any other British ad.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, we also do less advert breaks than Americans as well. Like in some advert breaks, there's highlights from the week. Like that's just gone. And
I know he's passed on now, but back a few years back, it seemed like every British commercial during football had Harry Potter's uncle. I forget the actor's name in every commercial.
Oh, yeah.
I know he's a huge actor over there too. I just don't remember his name, but he seemed to be in every commercial during football.
Gary Oldman, something like that. He was in a lot of ads. Yeah, our betting ads are hilarious as well because it's like, look at all the fun you can have whilst gambling, but don't gamble. It's really bad. But look at all the fun you could be having if you were gambling. It's all quite fun.
All right. So who do you got in the game, Maddie?
Jags to win. Okay. And I'm taking the under.
Yeah, that over-under is a weird one for me on that game.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have Tennessee Titans at New Orleans Saints. The Saints are favored by 3 at home, which means on a neutral field, they think it's a pick-'em game.
Yeah.
I'll let you go first on this one. It's a 42 over-under with the Saints -3, so favored by 3.
Yeah, I think we're coming into a couple of games here where we could like just not really have too much to say on teams where they're not horrendous, they're not amazing. Derek Carr's better. I'm excited to watch Derek Carr in his first game. I think that's the talking point of this, isn't it? Let's see if Derrick Henry's still an absolute monster. And
he is now that Tannehill has a true receiver again.
Yeah. D-Hop in his first game as well, actually. Yeah, there's some interesting points for this one.
I said it like it was fact, but that's my opinion. Derrick Henry is back because there's going to be somebody to stretch the field again with Hop.
They probably have to take one more person out of the box than what they had in last year. I'm gonna take the Saints in this one. Give me the 3. I think they're a more all-round base team for the Raiders. What was the over-under on that one?
42.
42. Oh shit, that's low. Vrabel's defense keeps them within hitting distance, so the under, I guess.
I'm taking the upset. Tennessee wins, but I'm taking the under. It's a low-scoring game.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry and Tannehill look like they did 2 years ago. Not that Tannehill is the greatest quarterback, but he can manage a game, hit some open guys
Top
on
20.
third down. I'm taking the Titans for the upset, but I'm taking the under on the 42.
All right. They're two teams that we have a bit more of a blind spot for. They don't get a lot of airtime on our particular show.
Yeah, I think the Titans are going to be more like what they were 2 years ago than what they were last year.
Yeah, I could see that. I could also not see that, and it just totally fall apart. And we might see Malik Willis getting given a second go.
In Vrabel, I trust.
That's always a good policy to go by.
Any coach who's got a big dip in while smoking a dart on the sideline at practice, I'm all for. So a game that I don't think anybody outside of their fans care about is Arizona at Washington. The Commanders are a 7.5 or a 7-point favorite with a 38 over under.
A 7-point favorite with a 38 over under. So they think potentially it could be 31-7. That's what they're kind of
the Cardinals are tanking. I don't care what anybody says because
who's playing quarterback?
When you cut Colt McCoy and you have no quarterback on your team, like that anybody knows who they are.
Who is playing quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals?
I forget. Year? That's how bad it is. I forget.
Who's their first string quarterback? Let's find out.
So I'm going to take the Commanders, but I'm going to take I'll take the under in the Commanders. I don't know about that over under.
I'm going to take the over on the over under. 38 is so low. You go the over under. I'm going to take the Commanders to beat them by more than 7. I think the Commanders are, but oh Jesus! Right, Joshua Dobbs.
It's gonna be like a 14-10 game or something.
Actually,
like that.
Yeah, shit. No, taking the under. I've just realized who the quarterbacks are for both teams. Joshua Dobbs is quarterback in the Arizona Cardinals.
The guy who fucking was on 4 teams last year.
Yeah. So Joshua Dobbs, he looked decent in one game. So he's quarterback in the Arizona Cardinals with Sam Howell, quarterback of the Washington Commanders.
Now, Taylor Heineke has done nothing but praise Sam Howell since last year.
Sam Howell, look, let's see how Sam Howell does. I didn't see enough of him in college to think that he'd be any good. He was decent against the Cowboys. That game was null and void because the Cowboys just didn't show at all. Let's see how he does. Give me the Commanders by, Jesus. Does that work? The Commanders by more than 7 and give me the under. Let's see what happens.
I went. So we're the same on that.
It just feels like...
It doesn't sound right, but it is, man. No, it is the right pick.
Yeah. It feels like, a team's tanking when you can get those kind of scores. That's terrible.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're heading down to Hotlanta, where the Carolina Panthers are at the Falcons. Falcons are a 3.5-point favorite, which blew me away. Over under 40. I think both teams are garbage. I think both teams are hot garbage. But I'm still going to take the Panthers because I have more faith in Bryce Young than I do in
Desmond Ritter.
Desmond Ritter. I almost called him Calvin Ritter.
Calvin Ritter. Bryce Young. Calvin Ritter. Oh, geez. Now you got me doing it. Bryce Young, and let's be honest, it's Bijan Robinson, not Desmond Ritter. That'll be leading this offense. I love the... I really like the Falcons. I really like the Falcons depth chart because they've put Cordero Patterson as a W. Is that
J?
Is that the J? J. What does that mean?
Because he calls him the Joker. He can play anywhere.
The Joker. Cool. That makes so much sense. I like that. That's fun.
Cordell Patterson changed his profile pic instantly to Heath Ledger as the Joker.
Right. Okay. That's fun. Okay. So I like what they got there with Bijan Robinson, Cordero Patterson, Tyler Algier. I like what they've kind of got there. They have nothing else anywhere else. The Carolina Panthers have got Bryce Young, who looked absolutely unbelievable in college football. Unquestionable number 1 first round pick in the draft. For me, I'm going to take the Panthers because they have the better quarterback. So let's see what happens with that. And actually, the Panthers looked half decent last year. The Panthers defense looked okay. The Panthers, like DJ Moore plays for the Bears now. Anyway, yeah, the Panthers offense seemed like it had something going. Their run game was pretty good at points, even without Christian McCaffrey. So yeah, I'm going to take the Panthers in that one.
All right. Well, I'm taking the Panthers and I'm taking the over.
What was the over-under? Sorry, again?
It is 40.5.
40.5. Yeah, I'll take the over on that one. I'll take the over. I think there's enough offensive potential to get both teams around 20 points apiece.
Yeah, or somebody with 28.
Yeah, somebody with 28. Yeah.
Here's the thing, though, for the Falcons. None of us believe in Ridder being able to throw. So as long as you stop the run, what the fuck can the Falcons do?
Yeah, it's stopping that run, though, because they run the ball in so many different ways that it's yeah.
Minus tight end, they have no receivers. Like I just
Cordero Patterson's the Joker, so they can run the ball very effectively from wide receiver as well.
Yeah, he doesn't catch very well though. He was a wide receiver for Minnesota for years.
Yeah, you're not asking him to catch much of the ball, but just like bubble screens with a Bijan,
And he was questionable all week.
That could be that. Well, that's more of a problem, but yeah, they could legitimately have three. Tyler Algier is maybe a second string running back on a lot of teams, but they could have three. You wouldn't be surprised if Tyler Algier had to be the first string for a running back for a team at some point. They could legitimately have three number one running backs on the field at one time if they play Tyler Algier. Like if they had to go for a two running back set in the backfield. Oh shit, they could go wildcat. Snap the ball straight to Bijan Robinson, fake handoff to Tyler Algier, and then a read option pass to
Cordell Patterson out for today.
Damn it. Okay, anyway, that was a fun play that I designed in my head. Cordero Patterson's gonna then I've got the Carolina Panthers winning this one because they just Cordero Patterson.
All right, so
is a big miss for them.
The Packers Bears. The Bears are favored by 1 point at home. Christian Watson is not playing.
Do you want to put your favorite? Yeah, there it is.
I already had it queued up, Maddie.
Yeah, sorry, I was going down further in my notes. Fantastic. Yeah, this is the last time he gets to use this for an entire.
I get to use it until he changes it.
No, because it's for the last season, so you can't use it.
Yeah, it's giving back up to what I'm saying. It's giving credence to what my belief is.
Christian Watson missing out is a big miss for Jordan Love. Jordan Love in his first game. Let's see what he's well, not his first game, but this is the start of Jordan Love, his Packers career. That's what I mean when I say first game. You rate Jordan Love. You've heard really good stuff coming out about Jordan Love in this game.
If you listen to the reporters here, one day he's a Super Bowl champ, the next day he's hot garbage.
That's not like traditional media outlets at all. How much did you see how much the betting line shifted when Watson's been called injured?
I didn't see.
No shift on. You did.
I didn't see how much it moved. Yeah.
Yeah. It seems crazy for a wide receiver to kind of move it that much, especially a wide receiver who did look good towards the end of last season, but also had his moments where he didn't look so hot as well. So it'd be strange if it moved it too much. I'm going to take the Bears in that one because I actually do like the Bears off-season moves. The DJ Moore in a wide receiver is fantastic. Just run the ball. Like, he's got an elite wide receiver now as well.
That's how the Packers are going to win. They're just going to run the ball.
I take they've made improvements in the defense as well. I'm taking the Bears to win that one.
I'm taking the Packers, but I'm taking the under because the Bears won't score more than 6 points.
Wow. That's pretty crazy. What was the over under on that one again?
41.
41. All right. Okay. 41. Over under
20-6. That's the end of the game. 20-6.
20 points to the 6. Wow. That's a boring game. I see a lot of running the ball, not a lot. Like both teams sustaining long drives. So I'm going to take the under on that one as well, but I'm going to take the Bears to win.
Yeah, see, and I don't think Green Bay lets Fields beat him with his legs. I just don't think they will, and he can't throw, so they're fine.
Fair enough.
Everybody wants to act like he didn't have weapons last year, but he did. He had Mooney and Komet. He had fucking Montgomery in the backfield.
He was good to Komet. Like he was pretty good. He was pretty good to Cole Komet. Cole Komet came away with pretty decent fantasy points every week. And I know fantasy points isn't the metric of how we win games in the NFL and all of that kind of stuff, but it is a good idea of how well a tight end is done.
He had Chase Mooney at receiver and couldn't do shit either.
Mooney regularly missed balls on deep throws as well. Like Mooney regularly dropped deep throws. I can think of 3 separate occasions.
I don't see it, and I can't wait till this season's over and Justin Fields is no longer being talked about because he's either some team's backup or he's out of the league.
But there's nothing that I can do to dispute that. When you put that on the screen, there's just nothing that I can do to dispute that. So I just, whenever we do it, I'm like, do you know what, Jay? You win this argument every single time, and I need Justin Fields to give me something to prove this point for me. So let's see if he does it. Also, Bloomdahl, why wouldn't you respond to my trade for Justin Fields, man? Like, you were right not to give him to me, but you just didn't respond. You just left me hanging.
He probably didn't see it, and he's not in our group chat.
Hurtful. That whole situation.
Next time, let me know. I'll text him.
You just left me hanging the entire time. What did I offer him? Dak Prescott and Michael Thomas or something. It was a terrible trade offer. I was wanting him to come back with something else.
Well, be careful. This guy is the only guy I know who can give you stats number for number from 1970.
Oh, trust me. Like my team look like we're gonna be. I think I'm 38 points to win because Travis Kelce was injured the other day. So 48% is my winning chance. But I remember playing him last year, and he seemed to have just players that I never thought of as big fantasy threats, and for some reason they were fucking unbelievable.
And that was the first time he had ever played fantasy football.
Yeah. There was like a few players, like his whole team build wasn't quite right, but like there was a few players that was just crazy. So let's see. I've got my fingers crossed. I'll be keeping an eye on it.
All right. Well, we're moving on to the Eagles at the Patriots. The Eagles are 3.5-point favorites. The over-under is 44.5. I think this is a crazy point spread. Give me the fucking Eagles right off the bat. Give me the Eagles.
Yeah. Do we need to say much more about the Eagles? I mean, they were Super Bowl runners-up last year, and in roster terms, let's see things like, can Jalen Hurts sustain what he's doing and things like that, but I can't see any reason for any drop-off. In roster terms, they've got better somehow, which is unheard of for teams when they go to the Super Bowl. Two teams at possibly completely different ends of dynasties. I mean, Bill O'Brien being back in the building is good for the Patriots, but not good enough to make them beat the Eagles. And a 46-point over under. I'm going to take the under on that one because I just think Bill Belichick will have some stuff for the Eagles, but I don't see the Patriots really moving the ball at all. I could see it being like 25 to 9 or something like that.
Well, I will take the Eagles in the over.
The Eagles in the over. Right, okay.
Because I think
that's the Eagles putting up a lot of points.
I do. I think the Eagles are going to be one of those teams who suffer less from a Super Bowl hangover than most teams because they're so talented.
Yeah, and I think they're so well run as well. I think that's a big part of it too. As much as I wish they did, as much as I hope they do have a Super Bowl hangover because they're the worst fan base ever. No offense, Eagles fans, because they'll say the same about the Cowboys. So as most of the league does about the Cowboys. So yeah, let's see. Let's see.
I love the Vikings, but I'm starting to believe that the Vikings fans may be the dumbest in the NFL after being in all
every sensible football player's mind, football commentators' minds, in my view, think that their fan base has some of the worst fans, which I think the Cowboys definitely do. I just think they're second worst to the Eagles.
After going in those groups, man, I'm like, some of these fucking idiots don't even understand football.
I know, I really wish.
And I'm very convinced that a lot of the Vikings' hate towards Kwesi has nothing to do with his moves and has to do with the color of his skin, but we won't even get into that.
Yeah. That's definitely not something we need to get into right now.
No, but it's sad that you see that. Like, in
definitely.
2023, are we not past this dumb shit yet? But we're obviously
definitely.
All right. Well, Miami Dolphins at the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers are favored by 3. This is another one that they're saying is a pick'em game on neutral field. I'm just going with the Dolphins because I have zero faith in the Chargers coaching staff, and that 51 for over under is kind of a high fucking number. Even though I think they could get over that, I'm taking the under.
Yeah, the 51 points basically means that they think that Jalen Ramsey is the biggest miss for the Dolphins ever, and they don't have any faith in the Chargers defense whatsoever either. I'm gonna take the Dolphins in this game. I don't think that I think the Chargers are gonna have a bit of a down year, and it's gonna be the end of Brandon Staley. And then they'll move forward, get a better coach next year, and be in the playoffs. I think the Dolphins are playoff bound this year, and I'm going to take the over on 51.
You take the over?
I'm going to take the over on 51 just because of the two offenses put in front of me.
All right. I got more faith in the Miami defense than you do, I guess.
I have not so much faith in the Miami defense, but I think it's my complete lack of faith in the Chargers secondary this year. Even though they have Asante Samuels, who I think is the Cowboys' biggest miss in one of the Cowboys' biggest misses ever. Kelvin Joseph for Asante Samuels. Ridiculous.
All right. Well, let's move on to the LA Rams versus Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. Seattle's favored by -5. Over under is 45.5. I'm taking the Seahawks, and give me the over on the over-under.
Seahawks and the under on this one. I think the Seahawks run game goes right through the Rams. I think the Rams are... Let's see if Matthew Stafford's elbow works. I don't know if it's going to work, so let's see what happens. I'm surprised they didn't keep Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, it's because they owe Stafford so much money he was getting this year no matter what happened.
Yeah, I suppose so. I just think it's interesting to not have kept Baker on the books, you know.
All right. Well, they drafted Stetson Bennett.
Great.
That's all I got.
Getting rid of the old man to bring in an old man. Fantastic.
Yeah, getting rid of Stafford to bring in a guy who couldn't even run away from the cops, let alone a defense. It's not even the fact that he ran; it's how poorly he ran against cops. That's an issue.
It was impressively bad. I just watched my 50-year-old dad run for a train, and he looked like he moves better than Stetson Bennett.
All right. Well, Las Vegas Raiders versus the Denver Broncos in Denver, Mile High. Denver's favored by 3.5 with the over-under at 43.5. What do you got going on there?
That point spread's like 3.5. Oh, so it's a pick'em game on home field. Just the way that the talking heads ended with the Broncos being like, Russell Wilson is the worst ever. He's such a terrible quarterback. Amazes me, and Vegas seem to have bought into that a little bit. Do we not think that Russell Wilson is better than Jimmy Garoppolo at this point? Give me the Denver Broncos. Sean Payton's a better coach than Josh McDaniel. They have a better defense than them. Mile High is a fortress, and Russell Wilson is going to be better this year. Give me the Denver Broncos and give me the over as well.
I agree with you on the Broncos and the over, and I would just add that I think the Raiders are a really bad run organization right now.
Yeah,
because they've had a lot of issues. I know Jacobs is back in the fold, but Chandler wants new money, Chandler Jones, and again, it's just this whole Jimmy G thing. I'm not a believer in Jimmy G. I think Jimmy G would be probably the best backup if he was a backup.
Yeah. Jimmy G would be a fantastic backup. And a great backup, but no. Terrible decisions made to get rid of Derek Carr as well.
All right, moving on to some Sunday night football with the Dallas Cowboys heading into the New York Football Giants Stadium, and the Cowboys are favored by 3. Give me the upset. New York wins this game. Give me the under. Giants win. Defensive game, shut them down. Saquon Barkley has a huge game. Giants win that game. Give me the under.
I feel like we could talk about this particular game for another maybe half an hour, but as we're over an hour already, we'll house a lot of the debate on this one for our review show at the end of this weekend.
So you can tell me why I was right and you were wrong.
Well, you can say to me once again how I'm a genius, which you should have said to me before this because of the Lions and the Kansas City.
Unless you are the one who fucked up Kadarius Toney's hands, I'm not giving you nothing.
I knew it. It's all insider knowledge. I knew that and I was paying him to drop
Kadarius Toney after the fucking game. If I
was paying Kadarius Toney to drop the ball. Actually, I was giving him a few handouts so that I could look good on this show. I think it improves our viewership stats enough where I bribed Kadarius Toney to drop the ball. Imagine if I had that much.
You taking the over or the under on the 45?
Well, first of all, I'm taking the right pick and I'm taking the Cowboys to win the game. I think that Danny Dimes is getting paid like how's Danny Dimes' contract not worse than Dak Prescott's is crazy to me. But Danny Dimes is getting paid like a superstar, which he's not. Saquon Barkley is.
Because he's making less than 40 a year. That's why.
Yeah, I know, but he's so far off that amount of money that it just seems interesting.
You think Dak is that much better than Danny Dimes?
I think Dak is that much better than Danny Dimes, yeah.
I think Dak is this much better than Danny Dimes.
Well, then you should be picking him to win this game, then, shouldn't you? But but more importantly, I think the Cowboys defense is so shut down.
Saquon Barkley's better than any running back you guys got in your stable.
Yeah, but our defense is going to stop him, so that's it's fine. I think the Cowboys defense is so shut down this year that I'm taking the under on a Cowboys win.
Brian Daboll fixes what he can with Danny Dimes. Danny Dimes finishes the year better than Dak Prescott, which isn't saying a ton, and they win the game. Giants win the game. Would you take the over or the under?
Under.
Under? Yeah, me too. But
I don't have miles of faith in our offense either, if I'm being honest. I just think our defense is so shut down.
All right. Well, the last game for for this week is the Bills at the Jets, and somehow Vegas is crazy and has the Bills as 2.5-point favorites on the road. 45.5 is the over under. The Jets win this by fucking 7 or more, so I don't know what we're even talking about. I'm dead serious. I'm not even joking. Stephon Diggs doesn't want to be there. Von Miller's not playing. They have 0 running game, and Josh Allen gets slack for all the dumb shit he does as a quarterback.
Yeah, I think Vegas have missed the mark on this one. Like Vegas,
unless Bills Mafia put a fucking ton of money on this game or something, I don't know.
That must be it. Do you know what? That must be it. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Jet. I'm gonna take the Jets in this one. I think Aaron Rodgers' first game as a New York Jet is gonna be great. I text you after just seeing one throw. It was the fade from Rodgers to Garrett Wilson. I text you saying the NFL should be worried about that because that connection, it was perfectly thrown. And the fade is a quarterback wide receiver connection play where the quarterback knows where the wide receiver is going to be. And the fact that they were doing that in preseason, that should be a worry that those guys have that connection in the NFL. I'm going to take the Jets to win that one as well. What's the over under? 41.
45,
over
45.
45. Oh, Over. I'm still going to take the over on that
I'm
one.
taking the over also.
Yeah,
in
I'm
that
still going to
game.
take the over on that one.
The Jets have a great defense too. I think people forget how good that defense played
Yeah,
last year.
yeah,
They got
definitely. Yeah,
2 shutdown corners.
yeah. I also think if you're taking games like that, well, you don't think the Jets are going to have the possibility to score 30, and then you think the Jets are going to keep the Bills, which Josh Allen is still a great quarterback. Like he gets more slate on our show than he does on other shows, but he's still a pretty fucking good quarterback. So you don't think the Bills is going to score at least 15, to on the game.
Yeah, I think the Bills will score around 20 some points, but I still think the Jets are going to beat them.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
that 2.5 isn't shit to me.
Yeah, 2.5 is that's nice. So you get to take the 2.5 still.
All right, Maddie. We made it through.
First Sunday preview show of the year.
Yes, sir. And I got your Cowboys losing in an upset.
Great. Awesome. You're gonna see what happens today, this evening, and you're gonna think the same as when the Lions were beating the Chiefs. You're gonna just go, damn, I wish I listened to Matty.
I still don't like what you did with the Chiefs one. I just can't give you credit for because yes, you picked the right one, but everything had to go fucking perfect for the Lions to get that win, and it did.
Yeah. And
They
I
played close
just
to
knew
a
it was
better
gonna happen.
team. And if
Oh
people
yeah.
want to be realistic about the Lions, they did not look impressive. They didn't.
No, definitely not. But the Chiefs looked worryingly bad in the wide receiver unit as well. But their defense looked excellent. So that, and it's like the other way around of what people were worried about. The offense looked spluttery and the defense looked
I
really
mean, I
good.
don't think there's any doubt in anybody's mind except maybe irrational Lions fan that if Travis Kelce was there, that game's not even close.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It just shows though what a 30-some-year-old tight end who is still just fucking amazing can mean to a team.
Yeah, I was banking on him not playing on my pick. I'll definitely admit that.
So what game besides the Cowboys are you most looking forward to?
Definitely the Chargers versus the Dolphins. I think like a high scoring game, a lot of talent and a lot of good storylines. Two teams that both want to get to the playoffs but have serious questions about them. What about you?
Jets Bills.
Jets Bills. Yeah, that's probably
I
the
want to see
correct
Aaron
answer
Rodgers
actually.
with the Jets. That's what I want to see. Because I really think that was an amazing move by the Jets. I do think they overpaid for him because I think you could have held out and made it real hard on the Packers and got him for less, but they just wanted to get him in before training camp, so I get it. But I'm excited to see him play with the Jets.
Yeah, and I'm excited to watch this week of football.
Everybody's underestimating the Delvin Cook effect on that team too.
Yeah, I don't get the lack of love for Delvin Cook. That's a great trade in my mind. Yeah, definitely a great trade, and two players that I really want to see playing for the Jets as well. And I'm sure the reason that you want to see Aaron Rodgers playing for the Jets is so that you can make sure that it's real, that he's not going to run out for the Packers at the start of the year.
Well, part of him not being a Packer does excite me. And the thing with Delvin Cook is, I think two things can be true. I think it was the right time for the Vikings to move on, and I think he was a great pickup for the Jets.
Yeah, that's fair. Fair point. Yeah.
It's just that I didn't see the Vikings with the offense they run. $14 million for a running back really isn't the smartest financial move with the offense they run. And we don't need huge plays on the running game. We need positive plays. And Delvin has more tackles for a loss than any other running back in the NFL.
Yeah, definitely. And when you have Alexander Madison in the stable, then it's not as big of a deal, really, to move on.
And people who aren't Vikings fans don't understand Ty Chandler's ready to go.
Yeah, Ty Chandler's like an excellent backup running back as well.
Yep, and Nagano's injured. Otherwise, he would be on the starting roster too. But
he looked electric last year. Do you know what? Until you just said his name there, I just totally forgot that he existed. But yeah, he looked good fun last year as well.
He's so fast too. That's why he was a great kick returner.
Yeah, he looked electric at points last season. You're so right. Good
So I know
stable.
they're saying that Kawasi's playing Moneyball, but I don't think it's as much Moneyball as it is. You know what your team is, and you know where you should allocate the most amount of money. And for the Vikings, running back is not that position.
Yeah, and also, why would Kawasi play Moneyball unless the owners asked him to? So it's the owners that would be.
Yeah, and our
The
owners are
one
like
saying that.
Jerry. They got deep pockets, and all they want is
Yeah.
championships. They're not worried about that
Yeah.
cash.
Yeah, there's no reason for Kawasi to play Moneyball. Like, it makes no effect to him. The reason Moneyball was important is because that's how much money they had. But in the NFL, you
Right.
all kind of use the same amount of money. So that's
Yeah, it's just
pointless.
deciding where do you feel that allocating the money is most important for what you do as a team.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you got a shitty quarterback, yeah, you spend a lot of money on that running back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like
100%.
Saquon's probably worth $14 million to the Giants.
Yeah, but then that makes even less sense why they paid Danny Dimes that much money. But I'm a big fan of Danny.
It falls back to I'm not a Danny Dimes fan, but who else do you put in
Yes.
there? And they were over a barrel, and so it's. I think you give Dayball this year with him because they have an out after this year in that contract with Jones. And if you don't like what you see, then go draft somebody or figure out something else. Even if you keep Jones another year, move forward after this, knowing that Danny Dimes isn't your guy. But I think you give him one more year because look what Dayball's done with quarterbacks in the history of his career.
Yeah, definitely. He made Josh Allen look like a potential MVP.
And when I shit on Josh Allen, I still think Josh Allen's amazing and a top 10 quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I just think he gets a pass for a lot of shit that other quarterbacks get killed for.
Like Dak and Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, and there's other guys too, though. You know what I mean? We can use those.
Yeah. But Dak and Kirk Cousins and Josh Allen, they're all, for me, they're all like top 10 in and around. Josh Allen's probably had a better run of it, so definitely top 10 right now. But if he has another season like last season, is he not like kind of slipping down the top 10 a little bit? And then you have like Kirk and Dak who are like top 10 to top 15, like in that region throughout their entire career. Right now, as of this minute, Kirk Cousins, I think I put him at 9th, and I think I had Dak at 8th or something like that. But yeah, I know you think differently.
Well, I know that the NFL players think differently. I'm just saying, the top 100 was voted on by the NFL players. Kirk, sixth best quarterback in the NFL, according to the players. Well, we'll see if Dak can stay under 2 interceptions for this game. What do you think?
Yes, I think that. I just feel like with Dak, like last year, maybe more of an anomaly, to be perfectly honest.
Well, good luck with Mike McCarthy's play calling because I watched it in Green Bay for years.
Yeah, that worries me. Do you know what? That happened so long ago where they got rid of Kellen Moore. They got rid of Kellen Moore at a really good time because I keep on forgetting that it happened because they did it like so long ago. But what was it? Late January? Must have been.
Yeah, it was right after the season, not too long after the season.
It was late January, so I keep on forgetting that Mike McCarthy's decided to take on Moore.
McCarthy, though, if you're on the verge of getting fired, go out your way. Get rid of the offensive coordinator. Start calling your own plays because then you live or die by your choices, not somebody else's.
I hope. I hope that Russell Wilson is absolutely terrible and Sean Payton just gets sacked.
That won't happen. Don't get rid of Russell Wilson and let
I know
Payton bring in a new quarterback before that.
I know. Well, I can hope. Hope.
Isn't Stidham their backup? So if Russell Wilson was bad, he brings in Stidham and.
Yeah, of course, and then completely wins the NFL playing with Stidham, who looked pretty good for the Raiders. Not gonna lie, the one game that I remember him playing.
Yeah, he looked better than Derek Carr did, which is sad.
That is sad. That's the reason that Derek Carr's not playing for the Raiders anymore. All right.
Well, we got 10 minutes till kickoff. I hope everybody fucking enjoys the first Sunday of the NFL season. It's good times. I'm excited. Hopefully I won't get too stressed. Maybe the Vikings can do me a favor and pull out to like a 14-point lead and just hold that thing so I don't have to have a heart attack because last year was a real rough one on my mental and physical health.
Yeah, guys, enjoy your first Sunday. I hope everybody's fantasy teams go well, apart from Bloomdale's. Sorry about that, friend. Okay, I'm Montana's for the sake of the
Montana
show.
started 3 people on Thursday, and he's only got 18 points. So I'm sitting pretty good. So we'll see.
Yeah, because he picked up Gray to play tight end, which I was like, oh, good pickup. And then I didn't realize that he was listening to the Canadian again and playing a tight end at the flex. But
And then Bell's on that team too. So what made you think that Gray was going to get all of the plays, and all the big tight end plays came from Bell actually? And it was interesting. But anytime that I told him just play 2 tight ends, I hope you do. I told him during the
he did it. He did it. And if you don't beat him, then you've made it.
Well, if I don't beat him, it's probably because Deshaun Watson sucked balls.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Probably.
That'll be it. Yeah.
You never know with fantasy football, though, right? Like,
yeah. Christian McCaffrey had a 14-point game once. You could have that kind of thing.
I have some good running backs too, man.
Yeah. I like your team this year. Yeah, I like your team.
Well, I learned last year that I had really good receivers, and they got me bounced in the playoffs real quick. So I went the opposite route this year and stockpiled some running backs.
Yeah, I'm happy with where my team's at. I wasn't too happy after the draft, but I'm happy with where it's at right now. I said the same last year.
Right. Well, everybody feels good after the draft, and then
I never feel good after the draft. I always feel shitty after the draft and then feel good later on.
Oh, maybe that's the way to go about it, because the rest of us feel good after the draft, and then shit just goes sideways.
It just makes me work extra hard on trades all the way through. I remember trading Trey Lance for Justin Fields before the first game of the season, and then Trey Lance blows his leg up, and Justin Fields is a fantasy monster.
I made one trade last year, and it was for Irv Smith for my bye week, and he blew his fucking leg up before he even played that game. So,
yeah,
I see the Canadians in there already trying to make some trades too, which made me laugh.
Yeah, I know. I think I might. I'm gonna go and try and steal all of his best players and make him feel like he got a good deal for it. So let's see what happens with that.
All right, guys. Well, we'll let you know how that works on Maddie's NFL or on his fantasy trades. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy this weekend's football. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.